Alicia from Better My Blueprint podcast, and I am super excited to talk to you guys about today's episode. Today's episode 6, which means that we are at the second to last of all the episodes for this season, season 1. That means that we're getting close to season 2. For this specific topic, we will be talking about the impact of PCOS on female reproductive systems, understanding hormonal imbalances, ovulation dysfunction, infertility, and weight loss. Now, of course, before we get into it, if you are not following us on social media, what are you doing? Hello, join the community. Like, we talk about all things to bettering yourself. Like, what more can you ask for? Okay, so make sure you're following us on Instagram at Better My Blueprint. Follow us on Spotify and download this episode, add it to your favorite playlist on Spotify. And then, of course, like, follow us on YouTube so that you can see this beautiful face every single time that we post a video. Before we get into that, I just want to thank everyone for basically interacting and participating in the poll that we posted a couple weeks ago where you guys chose TikTok. Now, I have been seeing a lot of people posting about TikTok being removed from US like United States ability to like be on TikTok. And so I know that is a little bit of an issue since we want TikTok to be a part of this business and a part of Better My Blueprint. But I am still doing my own research to see if TikTok is going to be ripped out of our grasp, because if it is, then we will have to find a different platform, or we would just have to be more active on the platforms that we already have. But I will keep you guys updated on if we are going to have to not use TikTok. But thank you for everyone who did interact with the poll that we had on Instagram that asked if you prefer Apple Podcasts over TikTok or TikTok over Apple Podcasts. TikTok won. So you're going to see a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of get ready with me when I'm getting ready to like do this podcast episodes and much more. So if we do get to keep TikTok for a while, I will be posting on there pretty soon. You will see a lot more videos and updates on us doing TikTok a little bit closer to the end of this year, preferably probably 2025 in January. So thank you guys for following us. Thank you guys for supporting me, helping me out, making me feel like this is something that I should be doing. And thank you for everybody who's been commenting under our posts and reposting it and sharing it on their stories. So yeah, let's get into this because this is a very wordy episode, and it's going to be a lot of words that you probably don't know that I had to research and look up. So let's get into it. The topic is PCOS, the impact of it on the female reproductive system. We're going to be talking about hormone imbalances, ovulation dysfunction, infertility, and weight loss. Just to make it clear and to give a disclaimer, I am not a licensed psychiatrist, psychologist, doctor, gynecologist, none of that. I did not go to school for it. All of this research that I have done was based on my own personal research, something that you guys can definitely go do on your own time. You have access to the same Google, as well as you have access to the same books and libraries out there where you could do your own research like I have. Since I have been diagnosed with PCOS, I'm giving you a lot of information based on what I discovered for myself and what helped me. So this is the information I'm giving you is for you to try it out for yourself. If you have been diagnosed, you think you might have PCOS, or you're dealing with any other reproductive issues. This video is not just for women, it's for men too, because there's a lot of men who go through their own reproductive issues, and a lot of the herbs and things that I list will definitely help you as well. So please stay tuned and continue watching this video. Don't get scared and think, oh, this is only for women. This is for anybody who's going through any reproductive issues or any issues at all with your physical health. So what is PCOS? PCOS is an acronym for Polycystic Ovary Syndrome. It's a hormone or hormonal disorder affecting women of reproductive age. It characterizes by irregular menstrual cycles, excess androgen levels of the development of cysts on the ovaries, and it's often leading to ovulation problems and infertility. So basically, to cut it short, PCOS is a disorder or issue or problem that a lot of women don't even know they're going through, that causes them to have high levels of androgen, which is not good, especially for the women's reproductive system, because it causes cysts It causes irregular periods. It causes excess amount of bleeding when you are going through your menstrual cycle. It causes pain and just a whole lot of basically, where for women at my age who want children, it makes it kind of harder, and sometimes it makes it to the point where it's permanent, where you can't have kids. So with the physiology of the menstrual cycle and PCOS, for those who don't know, which is most likely men, menstrual cycles is the release of an egg. And basically when the egg releases itself and it's not fertilized, it basically goes through the uterine line. And when it goes through the uterine line starts to shed, and it sheds blood, and that's where the menstrual cycle comes. That's where a period comes. That's what happens when the time of the month is happening, okay? So highlighting the roles of hormones, because when you have your menstrual cycle, or when you miss it, or when you have an irregular one, that usually means that you have a imbalancedness in your hormones. And so when that happens, you produce glands, and basically you produce glands in the endocrine, and I might be saying these words wrong, but I will be listing them up because I'm still struggling on these words, but in the endocrine system. And basically there are chemicals that send messages to your body and to your ovaries, which causes your hormones to go up or down, or causes it to be all over the place. And then that's when we talk about estrogen and progesterone. And so with women, you want to have estrogen, hormones. That's something that you look for, and that's something that even people who are trying to transition into being a woman, when it comes to like trends and things like that, you want to intake more estrogen. And so when it comes to PCOS, unfortunately, not that you don't have estrogen, but your estrogen levels are very low. And so you get a lot of androgen, which will be found mostly in men, and then your progesterone is kind of high, and you are starting to deal with things as if you were a man compared to if you were a woman. So how does PCOS disrupt the balance when it comes to your hormones, when it comes to having kids, when it comes to just being healthy? Basically, it causes the ovaries to produce excessive amount of male hormones, which are called the androgens, like I told you. And when that happens, that's when the inflammation of cysts comes, fibroid cysts, and just any type of inflammations within your ovaries. Some women get it closer to the egg sac, where the eggs are when they release for when they're getting fertilized. And some women get cysts in the lower area, where it's like where the uterine line is, which is the passageway of like when a baby comes out, as well as when you are bleeding and having your menstrual cycle. Some symptoms that you guys might be dealing with that you don't know is basically a leading cause of PCOS are irregular periods, excessive acne, hormonal acne, hirsutism, which is basically when you grow hair excessively in certain areas that you don't expect to grow hair. Like, I'm gonna put myself out there, but I grow hair sometimes on my chin, like little small hairs, or sometimes I get like a little mustache. Now, for our mature audience, because it's not a funny or laughing matter, unfortunately, some women will, or most women, when they have PCOS and been diagnosed, they will deal with hirsutism. They will deal with more hair on your sideburns, more growing hair in your eyebrows and your T-zones, more hair growing on your legs or on your arms or in your back or even on your chest. I don't deal with the chest hair or the back hair, but there are other people with bigger pores who deal with that when they have PCOS. Not only with hirsutism, but sometimes you can deal with baldness. People who constantly are trying to grow their hair and their hair just keeps falling out. They're wondering why their hair falling out. You use clean products, or you use the right products, or you use the same products you've been using since you were little, and now all of a sudden you finally get a period at 12 or 13, you grow a little older, and now your hair's falling out even though you're taking care of it. Sometimes the leading cause when it comes to PCOS is baldness, weight gain, and it's very hard to lose your weight compared to other people who aren't going through PCOS. Metabolic or metabolic complications. So sometimes you can't eat, or you're just so hungry, all you do is eat. And then, of course, cramps, pains, and excessive bleeding. Some women, they go through a situation when they have their cycle, and their cycle is just way too heavy, like so heavy to the point that they have to constantly go to the hospital. They have to constantly change their pads more than an hour, more than 40 minutes. And so a lot of women don't know that they have these symptoms, or that they do have these symptoms, but they don't know that it's the result of having PCOS, which is always good to go to the doctor, and go to a doctor who is licensed, and go to a doctor who knows what they're talking about, who specializes in PCOS. It took maybe a good couple years in college before I started taking more, like, I started paying more attention to my body, and realizing that, okay, something's wrong, something is not working, especially when me and my spouse kind of got closer and decided that we wanted to settle down and eventually have kids. Something sparked in me that I need to go and find a doctor. Went to many doctors. I went to male doctors, female doctors, white or black, and a lot of them didn't really care too much to diagnose me. It's very hard to get diagnosed with PCOS. I do not know why. And maybe it's just the whole thing with people still not knowing what causes it, why it's happening, and how to cure it. But I had to deal with a lot of doctors who just threw birth control my way and was like, here, fetch, you'll be okay, just take that and they'll stop the cyst, and when you're ready you can have kids, or when you're ready we'll deal with that. Thankfully, here in Texas, I was able to find a doctor who specialized in PCOS and who understood what PCOS means and how important it is. And now I have a doctor who actually is helping me with, finding clean, herbal routes instead of just going to birth control. For some people, birth control helps, but not everyone can just take birth control and expect to be able to have kids, not have cysts, not have hirsutism, not have, hormonal imbalances and things like that. It does not work for everybody. Sometimes it even adds on to the flame. So when getting diagnosed, because it's very hard, when you finally do get diagnosed, they will go based off not only your symptoms, but they'll also do hormonal testing to see how low or high your hormones are and which hormones are more higher than others. They'll do an ultrasound imaging, trying to see if you have cysts and where they are. The importance is trying to find exactly where the cyst is located. If the cyst is located more closer to the egg sac, then that's where you have to kind of take more extreme measures, because like cysts are like bubbles. Eventually a bubble will pop. You don't want a cyst to pop. You want to just dissolve it or have it shrink. But sometimes with some women, they have cysts and fibroids that pop, and it causes to affect the whole area and causes more cysts. And eggs are very sensitive and gentle, and you don't want to affect it. So seeing cysts and fibroid cysts around the egg sac can be a problem, especially if you want to have kids. If you don't want to have kids, I mean, you don't really have to deal with it. But people like me who want to have children in the future, that's something that becomes a big deal, where you really need to start taking more better care and taking more better ways to prevent the cysts from popping. So when it comes to that, sometimes you get cysts that are just in the uterine line. There are some women where you don't have to worry about the egg that's fertilized being hit with a cyst. Sometimes you have to worry about when, like, if you're pregnant, the baby coming down, or when you're having a C-section, or, the whole journey that the little egg and the fertilized sperm, the sperm that fertilized the egg, has to go through to get all the way down until it's time to give birth. And so for my situation, mine is not by the egg sac, which is great news to hear, but for some people it is. And so when you are diagnosed with that, you want to make sure you pay attention to that. Like, ask questions when you're going through your ultrasound imaging, asking them, like, okay, what's that? Is that by the sac? Is that there? Is that there? What does this mean if it's over here? What does it mean if it's over there? Now, thankfully, we live in a world, even though with the presidential election, I don't know how long we will have access to find these different, outlets to help us with our reproductive systems. But for right now, we live in a world where, you can do other things to have children. Like, you can go through surrogacy, you can adopt, you can do all kinds of other things to have kids. You don't have to have kids physically anymore. But for people who want to have kids physically, you need to take better care of your reproductive system. You need to start taking, treatments and start doing the other things like exercising, other stuff that comes with that, so that we can, it's not necessarily cure PCOS, but find a way to maneuver it where it's not so bad or so life-threatening. So they're going to look at how big your cysts are, where they're located, and how aggressive they are. Now, it's not a tumor, at least not to my understanding, it's not a tumor. But at the end of the day, a cyst is still very annoying. It's that annoying fly that never wants to go away, and then when it does go away, it gets all over the place if you splatter it. So that's what comes with having this cyst. And it's always good to take certain procedures. Some people like to get their cysts removed. And if that's something you want to do, you can definitely do that. But when you are trying to get diagnosed, it's better to find someone who's going to genuinely look into this and they actually been doing this for a long time. So with PCOS, comes infertility. Not everyone who has PCOS are infertile, but a lot of women go through infertility for a very long amount of time because they have PCOS, or because they're thinking, oh, maybe I just can't have kids, or maybe it's just not my time yet. But genuinely, it's the fact that no, you have hormones that are all over the place. You have cysts that are causing your eggs to die out, and you're just going through all these different issues that you don't know because you haven't been diagnosed yet. So it is one of the leading causes of female infertility due to anovulation, which is lack of ovulation. So some treatments that have helped me, and disclaimer, I have not cured my PCOS. I am still dealing with this today, but I notice a very big difference with my version of treatment compared to scientists and doctors' versions. Now, before we get into my treatments and what I do, a lot of doctors are going to push birth control, Inestol, and I'm going to list like other treatments when it comes to medical and science that you will hear when you're trying to get diagnosed with PCOS to finally get treatment. They're going to recommend those. Sometimes it can work, sometimes it can help, but also sometimes it can cause the fuel to be bigger in the flames, and we don't want that. So that's why I decided to take, measures into my own hands and do more of a cleaner herbal route. Now, I can't tell you what's going on in my body. I can't tell you if it's helping, like the cyst, and helping me to be fertile enough to have kids. But I notice a difference when it comes to my health, when it comes to my breathing, when it comes to my energy, when it comes to my skin and my hair and everything. I notice that things are starting to progress because I've been taking measures into my own hands by doing my own treatments. So some vitamins that you can take and some herbal like teas that you can drink. First and foremost, sea moss. I've been talking about sea moss with a lot of family and friends for a while now because for some reason sea moss has been the holy grail for me. I ran out. I have to get more, and I will be listing my Amazon storefront at the bottom in the description if you're watching on YouTube, or even if you're listening on Spotify. I will be putting my Amazon storefront of all the things that I have used or intake to help me. Sea moss was one of them. I prefer raw sea moss. However, I am not a herbalist. I do not know how to break down the matter to make it drinkable or edible. So I found a company that does it for me, and that's clean based on my research. So I will list them, and I will see if I can post like a picture so that you can screenshot if you're watching on YouTube. I'm going to try my best to list and show a picture of all of the stuff that I use, and I don't know, somewhere right here or somewhere on my other side you will see the exact company I use for my sea moss. And then after sea moss, of course, I take vitamin C, D, and A, which will be a really big help not only with your energy but with everything else, with your immune system, things like that. I take magnesium, I take omega-3, I take berberine, which is very good with basically stopping inflammation, shrinking down your cyst, and of course it helps lower your insulin. What you don't want is high insulin The whole point of PCOS is because you have a very high insulin intake. And honestly, what you eat does play a very huge, important fact in your cysts and how big they grow and how bad your symptoms for PCOS are. So, taking berberine to help with the inflammation and to help lower your insulin is great. It also helps with lowering your cortisol levels, which we all want our cortisol levels to be at a nice level, but not too high because that causes stress. It causes acne. It causes all kinds of things. I take zinc. I take prenatals, and I know a lot of people are like, whoa, sis, okay, you had me at everything else, but prenatals? Like, yes, even though you're not trying to get pregnant, you still should take prenatals because prenatals has folic acid. It has like all kinds of other vitamins that you need as a woman to help with your reproductive system. I don't know what the other word for prenatals for males are, but you should be taking that as well if you're a man, because it helps keep your sperm count strong. It keeps your reproductive system strong and healthy, and that's what we want, because we want to be able in the future to multiply and create the next generation, of course. Other than prenatals, and I take calcium as well. I will also be putting in my storefront the book that me and my boyfriend purchased for my mother-in-law, and that I will be purchasing pretty soon as my own little Christmas gift and birthday gift. Is the Dr. Sebi book. I will be listing that in the storefront, and then I'll also be showing you a picture so you can screenshot to purchase it later, just in case the link doesn't work. But I stand on Dr. Sebi. I've been doing a lot of research on Dr. Sebi for a very long time, and I believe that a lot of what he's saying and doing definitely will help, if not our generation, the next generations, to prevent and to cure cancer, to prevent and cure diabetes, to prevent and cure PCOS, and other issues that we all deal with and other sicknesses. So yes, those are things I take. And that's the book that I get a lot of my recommendations from, a lot of my research from. Some things that you can eat and intake that will definitely help, and that's been helping me. First and foremost, high protein breakfast. That's your lentils, that's your avocados, that's your nuts, that's your eggs. Eggs and avocados, those two are going to be your best friend in this journey with PCOS, because it's going to help you to get in that protein that you need without having to eat all this meat and hormonal meat. If you want to have a high intake of healthy fats, and a high intake of proteins, nuts, lentils, quinoa, avocados, eggs, those are going to be like, if you don't eat anything else, that's going to be your best friend. Cranberries, chase berries, you can either eat it as is, or you can make it into a tea, or buy a tea that has it, and I will be listing and showing you a picture of the tea that I use that has chaseberry and that has cranberries in it. Dandelion root is another thing that you can have as a tea. I saw somebody that put dandelion root in like their ginger shots or in their smoothies. You could do that as well. I prefer it as a tea. I prefer it to be seeped down and been in some hot water so that I know that I get all of the nutrients. So chaseberry, cranberry, dandelion root, leafy greens, that's your spinach, your cabbage, your greens even. That is going to be like something you have to take. Taking your kale is good. A lot of people don't like greens or like eating vegetables, but if you put it into a smoothie, then that's another way. I like to take bloom as well, especially if I haven't, like, if it's been a couple weeks, like Thanksgiving, where I didn't have as much vegetables compared to other things. I like to take my bloom. A lot of people, especially a lot of island people, aren't really, like, they're very hesitant when it comes to bloom or when it comes to anything because of chemicals and things like that. Based on my research, bloom is in the green light when it comes to taking it. And I will be showing you a picture and having it in my storefront. But I take bloom early in the morning to help with bloating before I eat my breakfast, or sometimes I take it after, depending. And sometimes I take it before I go to bed too, so that I won't wake up bloated. But it has a whole lot of leafy greens in there, which is going to be your best friend, especially if you're not a big vegetable eater. Beans. For my men who think that a protein shake and oats is going to get you there, no. If you're really trying to gain some weight or get lean, beans are going to be your best friend. I try my best to eat beans as much as I can. Unfortunately, my boyfriend doesn't like beans, so I don't make it as much in our dinners. But if I could recommend anything, beans is like your high protein, like high protein beans and nuts. Like, you want to gain weight, you want to get bigger, you want to get buffer, beans are going to be your best friend. And the whole point is to have high protein. A lot of people I notice are going on this carnivore diet, and I don't know yet to really give my full opinion, but I know eventually too much of those meats with all these hormones and things going on and GMO, it's just not going to sit right in your body the way it's supposed to. Now, I'm not saying we're not supposed to eat meat because Jesus ate fish and lamb and all these other things, but I don't know too much about the carnivore diet to tell you that that's going to be a good way when you have PCOS, because there's a big possibility that too much of that meat could cause inflammation. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you to go on a carnivore diet. But a Mediterranean diet is always recommended by my doctor, so you could try that. A vegan diet, because vegans actually do take in more protein than your regular carnivore because they eat a lot of beans and lentils and quinoa and things like that. Last but not least, raspberries and blueberries has a lot of antioxidants. Raspberries are very good for your uterine line, allowing it to be, flexible and strong and healthy. I'm not telling you to sit here and eat strawberries and freaking pineapples all day, because I don't really trust those fruits as much as I do raspberries and blueberries. But if you have to have any berry, I would say chaseberry, raspberries, and blueberries. Things to avoid, and these are kind of like self-explanatory because like you just shouldn't be eating too much of this. Fried foods, oily foods, like I'm not sitting here telling you to permanently stop eating fried food, because I would be a fool, because I still eat fried food. However, it's good to treat yourself every now and then, but eating fried foods every week, every day, every Sunday, it's not going to help your case when it comes to PCOS. All of that non-healthy fats and oils and flour, it's not good. You're basically opening the door to a disaster with fried food. So trying to stay away from fried food is going to be really good when it comes to being diagnosed with PCOS. Saturated fats, which is your butter. Butter is not your friend. I'm just telling you right now. I know it tastes good. I know it makes everything taste good. I know it makes everything moist and fluffy, especially a nice pancake. But butter is not your friend. So if you're going to avoid anything permanently, butter is one. I just use oil now on. Every now and then, especially if I'm making pancakes for breakfast, even though I shouldn't be eating pancakes because it's not good when it comes to high protein breakfast. But when I do decide to treat myself and make pancakes or make breakfast for me and my boyfriend, I do use butter for my pancakes. But it would be better to use oil. It'll be healthier to use oil. Avocado oil, almond oil, I forgot the other ones, olive oil, staying away from that great value canola oil. I don't recommend it at all. If anything, avocado oil is probably going to be the obvious choice, especially with getting those healthy fats in. So maybe try those if you're going to have to use some type of fattening for your meals. Red meat. Now, I'm a sucker for steak. I think I said that last episode or the episode before. I love steak. I would kill for some steak. Like, I'm a steak eater. That's just my thing. I love me some red meat. I love a good burger. I probably love red meat than I love white meat. But inflammation, we want to avoid that. We want to stop that. So red meat's out the door. I'm not saying that you can't have it every now and then, once in a while, maybe once or twice a month, but keeping your white meat chicken, eating your fish, your stew fish or baked fish, and staying away from fried food and red meats is probably going to be your best bet when it comes to having PCOS. And then lastly, processed snacks. If you are sitting here and telling me that you still eat Little Debbie snacks and freaking strawberry shortcakes and all that stuff, then we need to have a conversation. But processed snacks are going to ruin your fasting when it comes to PCOS. So the best bet is to stay away from those. If you have to eat chips, I say kettle, I say baked. The chips that are fried and everything like that, Lay's, Doritos, stuff like that's probably not going to be a good snack to have. Back then, when I was really heavy into this health journey with my PCOS, I ate a lot of pickles, which were really good. I ate a lot of peanuts. I need to get more, but I ate a lot of peanuts, pickles, I made a lot of tuna salads, which are really good. I always used to do my own little tuna salad mix. It used to be very spicy, which I prefer. Some people prefer sweet tuna, but I prefer like your savory tuna. And I might get a little bit of sweetness from the pickles, but I like to eat that as a snack. You can eat it as a dip. You can eat it as lunch, as a sandwich, or eat it by itself. Plus, it has the eggs in there, the boiled eggs, so that's a good meal to have. If you don't like tuna, you could switch to chunk chicken, which comes in a can, that you can get, or you can go to a meat dispensary where they can have it cut and they cut the chicken for you. You can make a chicken salad or a tuna salad, and that'll be a really good snack to have. If you have to have a sweet like snack, peanut butter, maybe something that has to do with peanut butter. You really have to do your research on certain granola bars. People think that all granola bars are good for you and they aren't, so you have to do a little bit more research on that. But other than that, that's what I eat, or that's what I avoid when it comes to being diagnosed with PCOS. A little bit of exercising I do is weight training. I have given up on cardio. I'm not saying that you shouldn't go for a walk. I'm not saying you shouldn't go on a treadmill, but I found out from deep research and through Dr. Sebi, through other herbal like nutritionists, through a lot of trainers who specialize in helping women with PCOS, a lot of them say that cardio is not how you lose your weight. If you and when you have PCOS, the big thing they're going to tell you when you're diagnosed is that you need to lose weight. Even if you're not as big as others, you still need to lose weight because you are big for your size, for your body type. So a lot of people think that cardio, running, walking, going on a treadmill, going on the stairs is going to be your best friend. It's not. It's actually weight training. Fat that's in your body is very tough. It's very stubborn. It doesn't just go away if you go walking 5 months. Like, yeah, you're going to lose a little bit of weight. You're going to lose a little bit of water weight. I'm not saying that you're not. But if you really want to get rid of stubborn fat, and that's where the gut is, that's where on your neck, around your face, around your arms, and sometimes on your thighs if you're a woman, the best thing that you can do, especially with PCOS, because not only are we trying to lose weight, we're trying to make sure that we're not hyping up our cortisol levels, because our cortisol levels play a very big impact with PCOS. You don't want to be stressed. If you have anxiety, you don't want to spark that up. The best thing to do that I've been doing when I do go to the gym is weight training. That's your squats with weights. That's your RDLs, your lat pull downs, lat pull ups, your sit ups, your chest press, your deadlifts. Now, I'm not sitting here and telling you I chest lift or deadlift or chest press. I don't do that. I need to start doing it, and I will eventually. I just have to take it one day at a time because me and weights are not friends. It hurts really bad, but I do see a difference. Last year around this time, I believe I was probably 230, maybe even 240. Who knows? I was pretty big. But now I'm 195. And for some people, they might say, okay, well, within the year, that's all you lost. I wasn't as persistent in this journey as I am now. But to me, that was a really big accomplishment, and that showed me how good this like specific exercising and specific meal plan could help me if I continue to be more disciplined. So, doing weight training is definitely going to help you out. It's going to help you tone as well as lose weight. And it slims down your face. It lowers your, your hormone levels. And it definitely helps with shrinking down cysts and being inflamed. So if you feel like, okay, but can I still do a little bit of cardio? Yes, you can. A lot of people like to do jump rope, or the little rope that you do like this and it's like really heavy, or, go for a walk, go for a run. If you have to go for a walk, which of course everyone should still go for a walk because it's good for your heart, 10 minutes to 30 minutes of a walk. There's no reason for you to be going on a walk for 2 hours. If anything, that's just going to spark up your cortisol levels, and we don't want that if we have PCOS. And this is who I'm talking to. People who have PCOS think they have PCOS, deal with any of the symptoms that I've listed. The last thing you want is your cortisol levels to be high. So please, if you don't do anything else I tell you to do, 10 to 30 minutes of a walk is all you need when you have PCOS. This is for only people who have PCOS. I want to keep saying this because a lot of people are going to come on here and be Captain oh, I know everything and be like, oh, well, that's not true. You can still do cardio. Da, 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 da. I do cardio. Da, da, da. No, these are people who have PCOS. Because when you have PCOS, certain things spark cortisol levels. Certain things spark your insulin. We want to prevent that. That's what we're trying to prevent. So with that, 10 to 30 minutes of a walk and you'll be fine. I promise you. I don't do much walking, but I am a teacher, so all I do is walk with kids and play with them and run around. So that's my whole cardio each day, because I work Monday through Friday. But weight training is going to be your best friend. Eating your high protein breakfast, eating your lentils, your avocados, your nuts, eating or drinking your cranberry teas, your chaseberry teas, your dandelion roots, you're eating your leafy greens, and if you are not a big fan of vegetables, putting it in smoothies. And I'm not telling you to go to Smoothie King and Tropical Smoothie because that's not healthy. I'm sorry. I don't really like Jamba Juice or Jamba Juice, but they have less sugar, they have less yogurt, or they don't use yogurt. And even though it's very disgusting to me, I think that that's probably a more healthier route if you want to go buy smoothies. But if you want to save money, buying the fruits and making in the vegetables and making it at home is probably your best bet when it comes to smoothies. Adding your kale, adding your lettuce, I guess if you have to have lettuce, adding those different leafy greens, your spinach, all of that is probably going to be your best bet when it comes to having PCOS. Avoiding your fried foods, avoiding your saturated fats like butter, trying your best not to eat so much red meat, and of course staying far away from processed snacks. I promise you, if you have PCOS and you take the herbal stuff that I said, like the sea moss, the vitamin C, and magnesium, omega-3, berberine, zinc, prenatals, and calcium, you will be on the same route of success when it comes to PCOS. A lot of women that I looked up, like this woman named PCOS Candace on Instagram, and I'll put her Instagram in the description. I've been following her journey since she's been dancing, since I forgot the black dancer guy who used to be on Ellen's show. She used to dance with him a lot. She used to dance with a whole lot of other people. She had PCOS and had it for several years and been running to this doctor and that doctor and taking this medication, taking that, and nothing's been working. When she finally went the healthier route, which is the herbal route, the herbal medicinal route, she lost a lot of weight. She had her own baby, even though they told her she wasn't going to have kids. She shrinked down her cysts, doing her weight training. She went across like Brazil and all these other different countries to find the right thing. And I'm going to buy her book one day because I know that she has a lot of really good like advice when it comes to PCOS, and it kind of probably will make it more easier. But since we ain't got money for all of that and we didn't buy the book yet, I'm just telling you what I read in the Dr. Sebi book. I'm just telling you based on my research. All of these things have helped me to lose the weight that I have lost. All of these have helped me to make my skin just a little bit better, make my hair grow a little bit stronger, and deal with like my cramps, deal with not having, like I don't even have irregular periods anymore. I used to have irregular periods, but I don't anymore because I feel like it's because of the stuff I've been intaking. So hopefully this helps somebody. Please, if you are not already, follow us on Instagram so that we can hit our 100 mark by the end of the year. Follow us or subscribe to us on YouTube because we are still on there posting our videos so that you can see my face. And then, of course, if you're not a YouTube person, like I always say, and you like audio, we still have Spotify. So please, please, please download us on Spotify. Add us to your favorite playlist so that you are aware when we are posting each and every episode. Thank you for everyone who voted for TikTok. Like I said, I will keep you guys updated if we are going to still have TikTok in the US. And I am super excited to be ready for season 2 that is coming out. When you guys see this video, it'll be 2 days before my birthday. So make sure you comment below and say happy birthday. Show some love. And comment below and tell me if you think that you have PCOS. Or maybe we can just have a conversation about the different symptoms you have. And I can give you my advice. And hopefully it can help you. If you think you have PCOS, go to a doctor. And don't just go to any doctor. Find a doctor who specializes in PCOS or specializes in women's reproductive system. And make sure that they are telling the truth. Make sure that they are honest. Make sure that they aren't lazy. What you don't want is a lazy doctor because all they'll do is just throw certain stuff at you and tell you to try this and try that. Make sure you find a doctor that actually cares about women's reproductive rights. Okay? I love you guys. Thank you again for watching or listening. Please, if you haven't already, comment below on our posts on Instagram for the week. And I will see you guys on the next and last episode, episode 7 of season 1. And we will see you again 2025 for season 2. I won't see you guys for Christmas because I won't be posting around Christmas because I will be with family. So Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy Holidays, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. And I will see you for the last episode. Bye.